It felt like a drug. Like the highs were so high.
So high.
Unreal. But what I've started to discover is that that is not what we deserve. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We deserve something that is like, that's consistent and calm and doesn't make you feel huge spikes in cortisol and then huge drops, because it's addictive and it's not good. Things that are addictive and that you're addicted to make you make choices for yourself that you wouldn't normally make.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Beducated is the masterclass for all things sex. Get better in bed and feel more confident by clicking the link at the top of the show notes, or use promo code manwhore at beducated.com. It's like educated, but with a B at the front, so you know how to tickle the B on the back. When your mission is beyond missionary, step up your game with Liberator. Their collection of transformable sex furniture and sex toy mounts will put you in sexual positions you never thought were possible. Use promo code manwhore and save 40% off the best-selling Wedge Ramp combo at Liberator.com.
Welcome to the Man-Whore Podcast.
Shout out to all the serial killer daters, the obsessive compulsive romantics, and all the B-52 love bombers out there. This is Billy Procida, and you're listening to the Man-Whore Podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the Man-Whore Podcast. This one gets deep. This one gets hilarious. This one brings it back to the original origins of this show. If you're new around here, this podcast started in 2014 with me having conversations with my exes about why we didn't work out. Sometimes they're ex-hookups, sometimes they're ex-girlfriends, sometimes they're ex-lovers, ex-romantic interests. So this is a very special one. I dated Elle back in early 2016. I have not seen this woman in over 7 years. But first, I have a few emails I want to read for y'all. A few emails. Subject line, Tina Frimmel podcast. Hi, Billy. I'm just listening to the podcast with Tina Frimmel right now. Bravo. First, I am very impressed with you choosing her to be one of your guests. I am myself disabled. I have MS. I've had it for 24 years. I also chose to divorce my cheating ex after 20 years of marriage. Ironically, I was the horny one. I bring that up because I had no idea how I was going to meet anybody, let alone if I was ever going to get laid again, because I don't drink, so going to a bar was not really an option to meet guys. I walk with a cane, so I can understand Tina about whether or not guys would be interested in me. I even wondered if I would have to pay for sex. Thankfully, I also found Field First. I put that info in my profile. I didn't want to hide it, of course, because if I did, well, they're going to see the cane when I open the door anyway. I have had unbelievable success to rediscover my sexuality and know there are just good people out there if they understand and appreciate boundaries, like how you describe in the sex rooms. I guess that means like the sex parties. I am happy to say that I found a guy who does want to carry me. In fact, it's a turn on for both of us. Bravo for having Tina on the pod, because we disabled people really are horny and just want to get railed just like everybody else. Warmest and wettest regards, Photo Girl. Thank you, Photo Girl, for sharing. Glad you enjoyed the episode with Tina Frimmel. We also had a lot of responses to that episode over in the Champagne Room in our episode discussion channel. Of course, you can click the link in the show notes. You can join us in the Champagne Room for free. This next email, subject line is an update for Billy, and it comes from former guest of the show, Carolyn Busa. One of my first few COVID in person, I think we wore masks, podcast guests. And I was very surprised to get this email from her. It was very pleasant. If you want to hear her episode, you can scroll on back to episode 347. She writes, Billy, Long time no see, chat, all the things. However, I have been listening to your podcast pretty consistently the last 2 years. I felt compelled to email you because of how things have changed from when I did your show back in 2020 to now. I barely listened to my episode when it came out, and I still can't, mainly because of how awkward and careful I was speaking about that relationship. And to be honest, I should have avoided the topic altogether and just talked about threesomes I had or the time I went to Southwest Love Fest in Arizona. But my secret COVID rendezvous lover, who is no longer secret and very much my partner, has happily listened a whole bunch of times. Hey, Carolyn, thanks for those downloads via the Boo. Because of COVID, falling in love, questioning the role of comedy in my life, I moved out of Brooklyn in March 2021 to be able to fully be in the relationship in Jersey. I started a very small business, made some great new friends, and when I sit back and think of my little existence, it's pretty good. Leaving New York was incredibly hard, but I realized that listening to your podcast provided some sort of spark for those moments when I'm missing the noise of the city. I'd listened to an episode here and there, then a few more, and now I'm pretty much a regular listener. Your interviews are so great and insightful and silly and make me blush in a different way. Not because of the content, but because of how freaking easily and beautifully your guests express their thoughts and feelings, unlike the mumbling mess I was back in 2020. Were you mumbling? I don't know, Carolyn. Be nicer to yourself. Everyone sounds like mini experts in their topics. You're a really great interviewer. I would tell my lover about an episode I think he should listen to, and he would. And now he's sharing snippets of your conversations with me. I always knew my secret COVID rendezvous lover was going to be someone very special to me, but your show has helped start some conversations that I might not have been able to put into words as easily as you and your guests do. All that to say, she says in all caps. Last weekend, we went to our first sex club. Wait, I hate the way that sounds. Lifestyle event? No, that's even worse. Play party? Okay, we fucked in a room full of strangers. It's something I've built up in my head for years. I knew I wanted to be in a relationship where we could explore and learn together, and I'm so happy we finally have this new experience to learn from, grow from, and maybe threesome. So, thank you, Billy, for the noise, the conversations, the honesty, and the unknowing role you played in helping our relationship become the one I've always dreamed of. Carolyn. It's not often I get long emails like that from a former guest of the show, but more than welcome. Glad things are going well for you, Carolyn. And if anybody wants to check out her small business, it's a secondhand clothing shop in Merchantville, New Jersey, and you can check out their Instagram at Peak, P-E-A-K, secondhand. So that was nice. This is the part of the podcast where I like to give a shout out to members of my fan whore community on Patreon. I want to say thank you for not just your downloads, but your dollars to Anemone Nemorosa. Anemone Nemorosa. That feels like it's not a real name, but if it is, then I'm sorry for being offensive. I will get you a fruit salad. Wink, wink. I know you know what I mean. A fruit salad. You and I know what I mean when I say fruit salad. You want, right? Wink. I looked it up. Fruit salad. Very cute name. Thank you for supporting the Man Whore Podcast on Patreon. All of my Patreon members can join me tomorrow night, Thursday at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time in the Champagne Room. We are having a patron-only movie night. Yes, we will be joining together tomorrow night to watch the golden era porno classic Sex World. All you have to do to join us for Hot Movie Night is you have to be in the Champagne Room, and you have to be a member on Patreon. And you can join up today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. All right. Elle. I know she's listening, so I'm going to try to have some chill, but I'm just going to say, like, look, I've been doing this podcast almost 10 years, and I've talked to over 100 of my exes on the podcast. Over 100 different women have come on and admitted that we touched each other, and that's pretty cool of them. And but you know, I over the past year or so, I've come to realize I don't need to talk to every single woman I've hooked up with anymore. I don't think that's where the show is. I think we're doing more sex positive conversations with public personalities. You know, the show, it continues to evolve. It continues to shift. But at the core of the show of like learning things about myself and reconnecting and getting closure, and having these like pretty intimate conversations with these women from my past, you know, I went through kind of the list one more time back in the summer, and I was just like, okay, who has great stories? Like, I think they'd just be great guests on their own, or who is a big story in my love life? And Elle was on that short list. And I was pleased when she agreed to do the show. Now, part of my embarrassment with Elle, a big part of it is that she is you know, when things ended, but when she ended things, it was in this time in my 20s where, gosh, I did not have chill. I was embarrassing to look at on social media. If you've been following me on like Twitter and whatever for a long time, you know that like when I go through a breakup, I'm hitting share way too many times. There's just, I'm not workshopping the bits. I am not doing a tone check on the posts. I'm just firing shit out so people know that Billy is sad. I cut the story of it out of the conversation because I felt like it was kind of clogging things up. So feel free to fast forward about 30, 45 seconds right now. I'm just going to catch you up to speed in that. I posted something somewhat aggressive, where I posted on Facebook a couple things after the Elle breakup, and one of them to the effect was like, hey, you ever wish that like a tornado and mudslide and hurricane and whatever would hit St. Louis, but like only affect one person? I wonder if they offer that on Postmates. Yeah, that was me. I am the one who wrote that and posted it and then kept it there. And yeah, not great. And now I didn't think anything of it. Fast forward, a couple years later, this, you know, an incident happens that I've talked about many times on the show where I live streamed with comedian Adam Lucidi. We unbagged a bag of my stuff that Paige dropped off during breakup number 1. And, you know, I've already talked about how like a bunch of people were mad that I did it, even though like no one watched us do it. So they don't realize that I wasn't shitting on my ex. I was just actually talking about how I could have been a better boyfriend. However, one man happened to be really concerned about this because he was friendly with Paige. I had brought her into his community, and he got on the phone with me. And in talking about his concern about the live stream, he reminded me that like I may have a pattern of posting some things on social media when I go through breakups. And I don't think I even remembered. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, he basically says, like, I posted something fucked up about Elle. So I had to go back and look it up. And then I was like, oh, no. Okay. I found it. And that, not great moment for me. And then about a year later, I sent Elle an email and I just like kind of apologized. No one asked me to do it. It was just the thing I felt like doing. I do that sometimes. You know, you realize that you fucked up, and so long as someone hasn't given you some sort of like no contact order, you know, sometimes you see if you can make amends. And then that was that. And then a few months later, I asked her to do the podcast, and she said, no, thank you. And then, but then back this past July, when I'm looking at the short list, I'm like, who is left where there's a lot of meat on this bone and there's a lot to get into? And Elle is a name that like was just a really hard circle. Didn't think she would agree to do it, but she said yes. And you're about to hear almost immediately once we start why she said yes and why it's irrelevant to where she is now. But we both, you know, we all know what I've been going through with Wallet No Lady. something that happened an embarrassing amount of time ago, and I should probably get over it already. But Els is pretty fresh, just a few months old, and we really connected on that. And this is, I think, a really great conversation about breakups and about love, and low-key showcases how fucking hilarious this woman is. It is wild to reconnect with someone 7 years later, to feel like you have chemistry, even if it's just conversational chemistry, like you're going to hear. I mean, the riffs, they're fire. And then there were all these little synchronicities kind of going on. You'll hear them in the episode. There were more that happened, off the episode. We're just going like, oh my God. And so you get reminded, because sometimes we come across longtime exes in the wild. This is a thing we call, many of us might be able to relate to. And this is something that happens sometimes on the pod where you just go like, I am remembering all the reasons why I was so into you, why I thought I might be, on the pathway to falling for you. Like, what a fucking catch. But I'm chill about it. It's cool. I'm over it. Not only am I over it, I'm chill. Anyways, before I embarrass myself any further, this is my conversation with Elle. The Man Whore Podcast is happy to be sponsored by Liberator. 20 years ago, Liberator sparked a new sexual revolution with a bold mission to liberate, you see where the name came from? To liberate couples from bedroom boredom. They're the creative minds behind epic bedroom essentials like the Wedge Ramp Combo, the S Love Lounger, and the Fascinator Throw, all tailor-made for incredible sex. And all of their products are proudly made in the USA. Nothing crappy from some warehouse in some other far third world nation. No, Liberator goods are buy it for life products. And when it comes to bondage, they've got you covered with 2 premium collections, the Black Label and their brand new Valkyrie Edition. They've got handcuff kits, they got masks, they got body harnesses. If you're kinky, they've got you covered. So go to Liberator.com, that's Liberator.com, browse around, get yourselves something nice for the holidays. And if you want a special deal, they're offering 40% off their Wedge Ramp Combo when you click the link in the schnotes and use promo code MANWHORE. One more time, visit Liberator.com and liberate yourself from bedroom boredom and, don't forget to let them know who sent you. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Beducated.com, the masterclass platform for all things adult sex ed. But here's the thing about Beducated. It's not just a place to learn fingering techniques and how to prep for anal. They're also helping you improve your communication techniques in relationships, up your self-esteem, better your online dating game, and how to enter relationships in a more healthy way. Right now, I was looking up the phrase breaking up, and there is a course here, Relationship Rebuilding, Tackling Your Impulsive Behaviors Head On. It's a video course from Dr. Yulia Richard. Relationship Rebuilding brings you expert tips for strengthening your connection and feeling empowered in your relationship. Isn't that something we could all need? And Fan Whore Nation can get an exclusive 50%, 50% discount on an annual membership when you click the link in the schnotes. If you're new here, schnotes stands for show notes. I made it a little shorter so you can save time and get your ass over to Beducated.com. Now, yes, you can technically use the promo code MANWHORE for 50% off, but I would encourage you to get into them schnotes, get really deep. I want you to slip like a finger into my waistband and just grab my schnotes and click that link. But you can use the promo code. It's okay. Beducated.com. Become experts in staying slutty. Beducated. It's spelled educated, but with a B in the front. Because it's like bedroom stuff.
When people give you a microphone, do you become a different person?
At this point, no.
I feel like I'm a wedding MC right now.
Oh my God. Have you been one?
No, thank God.
It's like your biggest dream, though.
Apparently. I want to be like, table 7, this is not about you. Sit the fuck down. Sit down. This is my speech. Right. So here we are.
Here we are.
Cool. I'm just going to be quiet until you start talking.
Okay. I left therapy being like, go talk to a woman I haven't seen in 7 years.
Nice. What did your therapist say?
We spent more of the thing talking about my roommate being combative and my parents.
Yeah,
But
that sounds like a good therapy session.
But I also did bring up like, and then I also did bring up like how they, our timeline and, you know.
You can refresh me if you, because I did not relook because I can't do that as aforementioned.
I feel bad for my therapist trying to keep track of like different characters. And I don't know how his memory does it.
Is he good at it?
He's terrifyingly good.
Honestly, mine too. I said the other day to her, I was like, you have a frightening memory. She remembers names of family members. I have 9,000 family members. And it's amazing. Sorry, I'm just going to see what this says in case it's a... Oh, no. Everything's fine. Right. Okay.
Yeah. You were saying before, wherever you were when I had texted you, like, hey, do you want to do the podcast? And then you were about to tell me a story, and then...
Oh, okay, so this was the third time you asked me to do it, this last time. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. I think I was just in a very different place than I am now. Like, I was feeling really cocky and good about my whole life because had a boyfriend who I loved, and I was like, yeah, I'm in a good place. Like, I'll definitely, like, let's chat. And then that was 3 months ago, and then we broke up, and now I'm a very different person than I was. So when I agreed to do this, I was ready to be like, every choice I've made is the right choice because it led me down this romantic path where I am the happiest I've ever been. And now I'm a broken person, but we all are.
But then does that mean that all those previous decisions were the wrong decision?
Oh my God.
What I'm saying is, did you choose the wrong guy 7 years ago? No.
Honestly. I think if I'm being totally honest. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. So no, I know what you're referring to, but now I'm remembering.
I want to know, by the way, to have a visual that we both have notepads out.
Yeah, mine won't be used. But I felt
you should embrace it. It's
out.
fun. It can be fun to like just randomly jot down words and know that I can't read upside down.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I will. My brain can't do two things at once. I can barely hold this microphone.
You're doing great.
I'm like really thinking about like there's a microphone in my hand. Yes, I remember now how we sort of started out. That was the only other time in my life, in my adult life, that I was single. And I was only single for 6 months. This is the second time in my adult life that I've ever been single. And I was coming off a hard breakup then. Like, I'd say I've had 2 massive, massive heartbreaks in my life. That was the first one, like sort of around when I met you. I was coming off of my college and grad school boyfriend who I was in love with because we didn't know what mistakes were yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the older you get, the more things you know, and you're just going into things with less naivete. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you just like kind of love more without bounds.
I used to call it, I would love recklessly.
Recklessly. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. You love very recklessly because you don't know that it's reckless. You don't know anything more.
It's awesome. It's love. Why would this be bad?
I know.
What could this possibly lead to that would be negative?
Yes. And then you get that first heartbreak and you're like, oh, it leads to this. And it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I met you, and then I met the other person I was dating, I think the same night.
Well, yeah, that's one of the few things I definitely want to clarify. Did we meet at What the Float?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
We chatted that night, I think. And I was for sure inebriated.
as one does on a bar crawl / dance party.
And I also was like, I remember going to that, and my friend who took me I was like so broken. It's a very similar feeling to how I feel now. And she was like, you're going to go to this with me. It was my first one. And she was like, you're going to fall in love with the city again and you're going to have a good time. And I was like, all right. So I was really into meeting new people and I was really into just like trying to get my happiness back and like trying to figure out who I was without this 5-year relationship that I had been in since I was 19. And we had a great chat that night. I remember it was really, really pleasant. And then I left for a while because I do gigs, as you know. And then I came back and we went on. We had been chatting for a little while before we went on.
We saw each other for a lot longer than I originally remembered.
But we didn't see each other with a lot of frequency.
Well, because like you'd be out of town.
Because I would be gone. So it's like
we saw each other when you were in town, but we would text a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So it does like drag out the like time between seeing each other. But I remember. And then I met
the other dancer.
The other person that same night, but we didn't go on our first date or really talk until several months later. And if I'm totally, totally honest, I think that I was making a lot of decisions out of fear. And I think that the correct thing to have done was to not have dated anybody. Because I knew that I was leaving for several years and I was really scared. Like I was moving to a different country and there were a lot of unknowns, and I've learned about myself that I'm very afraid of change and unknown things. And I thought that I wanted to have like some sort of foothold in America, and I wanted to sort of like keep some of my life here because I was so scared. And so I started.
You were scared of like the career move.
Yeah, I was terrified. Okay. I mean,
you weren't scared of like being single.
I was also scared of being single. Like I had been in a relationship since I was 19, and then everything changed. He left me. I was leaving the only country I'd ever lived in, the only city I'd ever really lived in, to go to a place where I didn't speak the language. I didn't have any idea what was going on. And I was just afraid. And so I think I made a lot of decisions out of fear. And I stayed with that person for 6 years. And I don't think that he was the right person for me at all. And I think that's why I fell so quickly into my most previous relationship. A lot of things. But anyway.
The 6-year one was the other dancer, or we're talking about the
6-year one was the other person I was dating congruently with you.
Wait, then is that the same person that like I would have seen? Okay, gotcha.
No, since 2016, I've had 2 relationships.
Right.
One was
that one,
and then 6 years later, it was the most recent one, which lasted about 2 years, maybe officially like a year and a half.
Okay.
And this one hurts like a bitch. Wow. Like it really hurts. But anyway.
I mean, it's far from a but anyway.
So there's my recollection of
that's your recollection.
The rough sketch of what.
Like timeline. Yeah.
What happened. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're done. We finished the podcast.
Great. So that's.
Great. We got it done.
All right. Table 7. What did I just say? Stop drinking.
Is everyone listening satisfied? Cool. Good.
Are you guys good?
Because I think we both got any answers we could have needed.
No, I feel really good about that.
Yeah, I have closure.
So have a good life.
You as well.
Be blessed.
With no natural disasters anywhere in your vicinity.
No. Oh,
Did you ever see that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Oh, God. I remember.
Not my proudest moment.
I think you were more horrified about that than I was, actually.
Well, because, I'll say, but Nico fucking is the one who first made me even aware that I said something fucked up and I didn't know that until 2 years later. Nico and I had a call on the phone and he brought up the post from when I was all like being butthurt, and I like didn't really he said like it was fucked up and I didn't even really remember. So I had to like go scroll back to that month on my Facebook wall, back when we called them walls. And R.I.P. And then like see like what did it say? And I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's a little extra. That's a little much. So it's like a lot much. And that like stuck with me because then like empathy brain went on and I was like, okay, well, what would that have been like to see that? That could have been X, Y, and Z. And then like I think like a year later, I sent you an email to be like, my bad.
Yeah. I appreciated that actually. I do remember putting myself back there. I was a little like afraid sounds intense.
I did wish multiple, not any one natural, I wished multiple interlocking natural disasters. I think
Neat.
if it had just been like one tornado, you'd be like, whatever.
Except I was in the Midwest and I'm very afraid of tornadoes.
Well, I mean, I knew that's why I started with
Wait,
that.
did I tell you that?
Well, I knew where your gig was, right? So I was just like, oh, just no big deal. I wish like, I said like, I reviewed it on the train again today because I was like, let me just humble myself again. And it was like tornado, mudslide, some other thing. I was like, can I order that on Postmates? And it was.
I remember that. I remember the Postmates thing. Also,
I'm glad you remember the what I guess I'll call a punchline.
I thought it was funny. Well, I mean, like, no, I didn't. There was something about it. I was like, well, at least it's, kind of funny.
At least there was like a joke structure.
Yeah, exactly. But I saw Twister at a very formative age, and now I'm terrified of tornadoes.
Did we ever bond back then about our fear of tornadoes? Because I also was terrified by Twister and like.
Oh my God, we did talk about this. We talked about it on the train. Oh, I remember. It's like a core memory.
Yeah.
No, I remember.
Yeah, in first grade, Mrs. Gunla told us that like there was a tornado once in New Jersey like 80 years prior. And then like I listened to 1010 Winds every night going to sleep as a child, probably for 5 or 6 years.
Oh,
because if there was a tornado, I wanted to know that was happening so we could all go to the basement. I was going to be the protector and let everyone, Mom, Dad, surely you're not paying attention to the news.
Yeah.
I will pay attention to the news and let you know when there's a tornado coming or like the fall of democracy. I will make sure everyone knows.
Did you really care about the fall of democracy or did you only care about tornadoes? Because I'm not going to fuck around. Like I was afraid of tornadoes.
Yeah, no, I was.
And apparently you were too. Something happened to us in a fear period. Tornadoes were a big thing when we were a certain age.
Well, when you're tiny and it's so big, it just seems like the thing, like, because when you're small, you kind of can imagine yourself being sucked up into a thing.
They made it seem like it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I thought tornadoes were going to be a way bigger problem.
Okay, Mr. Mulaney.
Well, he's got a point. Quicksand.
Yeah. Wow. See, do you all like understand as I talk to the wall? Do you all understand like what I maybe saw in this woman? Because I say Mulaney and she can quote his second album where he tells a joke.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listen.
It wasn't just the being gorgeous thing.
It's a classic. Did you see Maria Bamford's book on my table?
I did notice that.
Because I love comedy. And
you do.
That's the only way we can deal with things. And also tornadoes, because those are fucked.
Yeah, but heartbreak.
So you really got me in a soft spot there. Because as it was, anytime on that gig that there was a tornado warning, it was actually...
Did Billy order this?
Via Postmates? They have that here? It was 2015, 16. No, there was like a whole agreement. I learned later that they weren't going to tell me about tornadoes because I was so scared of them. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, that post was the beginning of learning that sometimes I impulsively post a little too much when I'm heartbroken. And then there's this comic who would make fun of me, Daniel Paraffin. He would say things like, yeah, Billy, I hope you go through a heartbreak again. Because, man, those Facebook posts are fire.
They were, for sure.
I never understood it till Nico pointed that out.
Honestly, I think it's actually really important that people who are funny go through things that are traumatic. Because if you don't, you have nothing to put a Band-Aid on with comedy.
Yeah, and since I wasn't molested, I have to make trauma be, well, like she broke my heart.
Incredible. Heart molested. I love that for you.
Again, you all see what I saw.
Stop it.
She said heart molested.
Heart molested.
I'm exploding right now.
Neat. Table 7, enough. God, they're getting so rowdy over there. You see what I mean about having a microphone?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's up, folks?
Please.
No.
I mean, you say that like you're not like that without a microphone. Like this,
But it's different though when you have the tactile thing in your hand.
Yeah, you have a prop now. Like, great.
Correct.
But it's still
because I never know what to do with my hands, and now I'm like, well, that's taken care of.
Yeah.
Now my brain can take over and do whatever weird thing it's gonna do.
Yeah. But that's L. That's
yeah.
That's L.
That's who I am.
That's who you are.
No, that's so funny. Yes, we need to have. See, I think this is good for us. This is like heartbreak over and over. I wonder if there is a world. I've been journaling too much, where we seek it out because it is what feels familiar and what feels the most helpful. Like, do you think we subconsciously seek out pain a little bit?
I mean, I don't think I do. Not emotionally. I just think I have accepted that heartbreak is the other half, the other balance to love. And I think I've always seen it as like, I was really heavily informed by South Park as a kid.
Okay.
And so there's an episode where I think Chef is teaching Butters like how you have to take the good with the bad. So he goes, you know, you have to have something good to be. If you feel sad, it means you had something good. Like if you want to make a baby cry, first you give it a lollipop, then you take it away.
Right.
If it didn't have the lollipop to begin with, it wouldn't have anything to be sad about. So I've always kind of accepted. You know, you see people who they're very tight and closed off emotionally, and they're very guarded, and they have the walls up. And they kind of only like love like this much, like just a little bit above the line.
Yeah.
Because then they're only going to feel bad a little below the line. But like, I don't want to live a life. Like I want to feel the highs. And I mean, I'm a natural gambler. So I go like that. I have to accept the risk that if I want to experience love that is that strong, there is a chance that either like when we break up or they die, or if I'm lucky when I die first, I guess, that I will, you know, you feel the same level of pain. But I don't know. Like I feel like that's a trade-off.
Really beautiful, actually. No, it really is, because you could have the problem of like an avoidant where they never let themselves get past a certain level, and that has to be the most hellacious internal struggle.
Well, I frequently attract that kind of
Me too.
woman. I mean, I think that was like my pattern in college, and like right after college was, you know, the woman I mentioned before we started recording, her there was a lot of women who were they were really funny and beautiful, but they also, that kind of came with this cost of they're guarded. And I think you were one of the first women like I clicked with really hard, where I was like, she's funny and she is like, she's not afraid of her heart.
Yeah.
And that was really attractive.
I appreciate that. I'm going to start considering that a strength instead of a weakness, because I do there has to be some sort of balance though. So my most recent ex, very, very effervescent, really magnetic.
Now I'm a fake smart person. Can you just remind me remind the listeners what effervescent means?
Just sparkly, outgoing. And I think that you and I maybe are attracted to a very similar type of person. He seems cheerful. He seems like the life of the party, but he is deeply, deeply, deeply broken in a way that I think you and I probably can't understand. And I think with a lot of avoidance, I've obviously been reading a lot of breakup books. So I'm doing like a lot of like
a codependent one at the top.
Buzzwords.
How to stop controlling others and start caring for
Here's
yourself.
my other one.
Getting Past Your Breakup by Susan Elliott. How to Turn a Devastating Loss into the best thing that ever happened to you.
And
Go,
then
girl.
Also, I'm learning how to draw because I needed hobbies. But I think that with that comes a lot of like suppressing of actual terrible things. So I don't know a lot about these women that you really fell for that are, I'm assuming, very similar to my ex. Effervescent, bubbly, like outgoing, attractive in that way, magnetic. Is that correct?
For some.
Okay.
The ones like before you were primarily like I'm like really cool. Like they're actually not bubbly, but they're hilarious, right? Very witty, very clever, very good with a riff. But again, like kind of emotionally closed off, don't want to let someone in too close. So that's why like someone being willing to let in was so like, oh, like awesome. Like this, it's I don't have to trade off the comedy for feelings. Like they can be in the same person.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't want to call myself naive, but that's kind of the best word I have for it right now. Like I really go through life blissfully ignorant of a lot of things that could possibly hurt me. And when I met this person, this most recent person, we'd actually been friends for years, 5 years maybe.
Okay.
It's a really messy start and it's a messy end and it's messy. But
Do you want to share any of that?
well, I don't know if we have time.
I got time. It's up to you.
I
No
just
pressure.
don't want you to have to edit out a lot of like details because it's
won't
taken
bother me.
Well, just like I'm verbose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that about you.
know.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I've just been in the editor's seat. I've seen the cutting room floor and it takes a really long time and I don't want to put you through that.
No, it's fine.
But I don't want to give too much like information about
Of course.
him, but I also want to scream into the void and send him tornadoes via Postmates. So, it's an internal struggle.
I mean, you're welcome to use the RSS feed like a Postmate if you want to, but you don't have to at all. I won't, I'm not going to push.
I think what I'm trying to say is like, I was so attracted to this person because of all of the things that I saw in him that I think I value in myself.
Like what?
Being
Bubbly?
personable, bubbly, funny, welcoming. And my ex before that
Similar.
was exactly the opposite of that.
He was? He seemed like I only knew in the context of like late night drinking and dancing in the streets.
Yeah.
But he seemed like an outgoing guy.
No, he was really.
You still chose that. Okay, no, I'm kidding.
Oh, trust me. I know. I mean, I don't want to. Oh man. He also had a lot of struggles on his own that once again, I mean, you and I come from, I think, similarly loving families. I mean, I know that your family does have like
They got their thing, but they love the kids are loved.
the kids are loved. Okay. And it's not like with my previous ex. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should give him a name or not to clarify.
Whatever you want.
Oh God.
Give him a letter, give him a name. You can give him an adjective if you want. Whatever.
Dancer sounds ridiculous. No, I don't want to call him that. Well, anyway,
you can refer to them by natural disaster you wish upon their area.
I fucking love that.
Of course you
do. I don't know if I wish a natural disaster on him because I've gotten over it. But I will call him Brooklyn.
Okay.
Perfect. Because we lived together in Brooklyn.
You did.
We did. We were together for a long time.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was an orphan essentially. Okay. I mean, like, had no siblings, that's just something that I personally can't understand. I know that you can't either because you have a family who loves you and so do I, and they've got their issues, but we have that. So I was really his only thing. And I was gone. I'm always gone. And he made me feel really bad about that. And he would make sure that when I was around, I was like his only.
It's like, why do we got to go out? Like, you're finally home. Like, let me have you on the couch.
Yeah. Or it was like we needed to plan things like 8 weeks in advance. There was a lot of control. There was a lot of control that I sort of had to deal with. And I sort of swept under the rug because I love hard. And I had made this decision that this was my person. And so I sort of allowed that. And then with Germany, he was the polar opposite of that. He welcomed everybody in all the time. Honestly, to the point where when everybody feels special, nobody feels special. Yeah. So for our entire relationship, he was a better friend. He was better at being a friend because he makes his friend all feel valued. And then when you are his partner, you don't feel valued at all. And he grew up in a cult. So that kind of...
Stop it.
So it kind of makes sense, right?
Too much love.
It's too much, like...
Criminally too much love.
Correct. It's literally too much groupthink. Wow. But I, as a total antidote to what I was going through and feeling like I was stuck and sort of like imprisoned, of course I jumped on that because I was like, oh, this must be what I need. This like huge sense of community, this like person who is a friend to everyone. Mm-hmm. But that, like you said, is, I don't want to say it's a front, but it doesn't experience the highs and lows of having real interpersonal relationships. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody is of equal import.
Everyone gets 6. Everyone gets 6.
Exactly. Because it's a frozen lake, you know? It is gliding on the surface and you're not allowed to see what's underneath. And that's a problem. And if you are anything like me, which I think you are, we love that chase because we love to know, or I won't speak for you. I'm realizing this now in my 2 therapies a week, trying to like break through that and trying to be the special person who changes this person and who, you know, I was fighting for a lot of love. He was very avoidant and ultimately made me feel like total shit about myself. And I'm like rebuilding from the ground up.
Yeah. When you describe Brooklyn and Germany as like these ways, then like, what would you have described me?
You know, I had a really nice time with you. No, I did.
No. It's like
what?
No, it's a very pleasant description.
We had a lot of fun. I don't know that we ever got far enough into our relationship for me to have super strong negative feelings.
Because the last time we were in the same physical space, we were like in full tears together.
What were we doing? Where were we?
Well, it was like we were having the last time we saw each other. Like we had this big like emotional talk because you were getting ready to leave for that gig, and there was a lot of complicated feelings about like what did that mean about us and what did that mean about you and wanting to date anybody. And like, you know I had strong feelings and you expressed strong feelings as well. So, you know, like there were allegedly feelings there, but
I think that my feelings for you were not as strong as yours were for me. Mm-hmm. And I actually learned a lot about how to treat people after I learned about how not to treat you. Mm-hmm. Truly. Because you said something and it was harsh. Like you texted it to me, but you really had a point. You said, listen, if you didn't want to be with me and you just wanted to be with someone else, I wish you had just said that. And I also wish I had just said that. And I'm trying now to say that to people, honestly, ever since then. Like, that was a massive lesson. That was a huge lesson in growing up. Mm-hmm.
Do you think it had more to do with not being that interested in pursuing more with me? Or do you think it had more to do with just like picking him?
It's a great question. In the moment, it was more about picking him, I think. But if I were a more mature person, I don't want to negate 6 years of my life, and there's no going back. The decision I made is what I made. Mm-hmm. But the smarter thing, the more evolved thing would have been to not pick anybody and to lean into the discomfort that I was so afraid of. But
and say, I'm moving, I need to go without strings, and maybe I see you if I get back, but don't count on it. And
I need to figure it out. I need to like be more comfortable in myself, but I wasn't, and I'm still not, you know, just this morning, I woke up. My new thing now is that I journal every morning. It's great. I'm an external processor. And if I'm not saying it out loud or writing it down, I cannot make sense of it. Yeah. But I'm starting to notice that like I'm once again putting a lot of weight on what other people think of me. And that's where I start to go completely astray. Like when you give somebody else the calculator of your own self-worth, it's just a zero-sum losing game, you know? And I have done that with every relationship I've ever been in. And even if I'm starting to date someone, if they don't text me, I'm like, oh, I'm a piece of fucking garbage. Like, that's so fucking wrong. Yeah. And I was doing that for sure. I found a person who I was going to put my self-worth into so that it would be safe or something. I don't know. But
are you cognizant of that in the moment? When
definitely not. I mean, I am now, but I surely wasn't then. And looking back, I see it. It's really bad in this last relationship. I was 100% for him. I completely gave myself up. Like, he was the holder of my self-worth. And that's a terrible thing to put somebody who's so broken in that position. You're going to lose every fucking time, you know? But the right thing, if I could go back and live a perfect life, the right thing would have been to be comfortable being alone and being single, because I was only single for 6 months out of this relationship that I had had since I was essentially a child. 19 is young. Yeah. I would have figured myself out, and maybe I would be able to see red flags more clearly. Maybe I would have been able to walk away from relationships that didn't serve me sooner. Maybe I wouldn't be as hurt as I am now, but that's not what happened. So
you said you can't go back, and it was interesting because this morning, like, I'm in the shower, and for some reason my brain's fucking crazy.
Me too.
I think it's a creative's brain. It just goes all over the place, and you see where it goes because maybe you find something interesting or artistic or funny or whatever. And so, but I don't know why, but for some reason I found myself in this like scenario in my head where I'm like kind of talking to a genie, and it's like, you can go back to a moment in time. I want to know then what I knew now, but I had to place myself in a moment in time. And it wasn't like I don't have the knowledge of like who won the Super Bowl. You can't cheat like that. So it was more like, I want to know about myself, and I want to know about her what I know now, but I want to know it then.
Right.
With Wall & No Lady, I was operating a lot out of fear. There's a lot of fear involved.
Yeah.
And so I had to pick a moment in time to drop myself in where I have this knowledge. Because I did think like, well, I want to go like, okay, let's say maybe mid-July-ish 2021. Because I also was like, oh, well, I don't want to do it too soon. And then I'm overcorrecting too early. And then like, maybe I'm making different types of mistakes out of the fear of like, because I have this knowledge. Like, I know things about Wall & No Lady after the fact that like it just took so, if I had just known that that's how like her brain operated and where she was coming from on this, and how she felt in these moments and what was going on with, I feel like I would have made slightly different decisions that maybe would have, I mean it's the fantasy, right? That would have fixed everything. All that to say, if you could know about yourself then what you know now, what moment in time would you go drop yourself into?
I wish I had, I'm just going to say the first thing that comes to my mind, because of course there are a lot of things, places and times I wish I could go back to. But in my most recent relationship, I think I would have gone back to last October.
Okay. A year ago.
Yeah, like a year ago. I was in Austria and on a gig, and my then boyfriend, who I had really jumped through hoops to be with, cheated on me. And I just forgave him because I was so in, and the stakes were so high, and I just let it go. And there were so many, oh man, I wish I had the respect for myself that I have now, because I don't think I would have continued and revered him so much because I put him on a pedestal. I couldn't, I get so blinded when I'm in love, like especially in the first maybe 2 years. I think I do come to eventually, like with Brooklyn. I did love him. I for sure loved him. I was like, I was in, he was my person. And then after 6 years, I finally left because, he really was not treating me very well. And with Germany, he kind of wasn't treating me well the whole time. But it was masked by the fact that we had been friends for years. And I was like, oh, this is just how he is. Like, he made a mistake, he drank too much. He hooked up with someone at our mutual place of work, but that's fine. No.
Did he cheat on you just the one time?
As far as I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can with pretty much certainty say it was just the one time. And he felt very bad about it.
Why do you think you were more fucked about this one than the others?
Because I think I really, really loved him as a person, He has this way of accepting people into his sort of like orb that is addictive. I think I was addicted to him. And in fact, I remember saying that to my mom. The way he treated me was unacceptable. Right. And I see that now. But I didn't see it when I was in it because he was like my salvation. I know that sounds insane.
Well, it's not insane. I felt the same way, but just, Walno Lady treated me very, very nicely. She had trouble with double standards, but like it
What do you mean? Say more.
She like there, look, she was she'd been with one man for like 10 years and was like learning how to be dating. And she was dating a guy who was like, I was like, hey, like, I don't know, like non-monogamy seemed to fit for where she was at. And I'm a good person for that. So it's like, and she didn't really know how to do that. And there are things that she wanted me to not do that she was doing. And
that's what I'm saying, though. There's something about these people that are a little bit unavailable that like ignites some kind of sleeper cell.
I was planning to have like Hot Boy Summer that summer. And then all of a sudden, like I kissed her on the corner and then I'm walking away. In my head, I was like, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah, shit.
Because I was like, I know exactly. I'm the kind of guy where like, it's not like if it's going to click at all, I have to know right away. It's just, I know that if it's going to go down that like love trajectory, which like not the freak it, but it's like, I was like, it's not like, oh, I fall in love right away, but I can like recognize the trajectory. I'm like, I think this is the path that this thing is on because like I can feel that thing early that indicates like that's where it's going to go. And like you were someone who I thought this is someone like if we date on a path, like I'm going to fall for this woman. And I walked away from my date with Walno Lady being like, I'm in big trouble because I'm going to fall. I think I'm going to fall madly in love with that woman. I was like, and then like as it progressed, like, that's what it was. And it was like, I've been in love before and I've been in relationships before. And even then this like felt like the secret boss mode level. Like, I don't know if you ever played video games as a kid.
No, I wasn't a gamer.
Sometimes you play like like an RPG game and you're like character going around the world. And so like if you tap like the third lamppost on the left, like this door appears and there's a whole secret level. It's not even in the guidebook.
Oh, yeah.
That's what love with her felt like. Whereas like, I didn't know this was part of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll even get to that level again. It's sometimes a level where like you get one shot at it, it doesn't happen. Hey, you had fun and you maybe you spend a day in it, maybe you spend, 10 years in it.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know if I'll feel that again. I think I'll feel love again.
Yeah.
But now it's like I know there's the best heroine in the world somewhere out there.
It's that. Yes, it's exactly that.
And now I just got to settle for like second or third best heroine because like that dealer, blocked me on Instagram. So I don't
This is actually really valuable to hear out loud because this is how I feel about
Germany.
My recent ex, Germany. Yes. That sounds like we're saying Jeremy, but it's not. That's not his name.
Let them think that. Let's really throw him off the fucking trail.
Okay. Well, it was like that. It felt like a drug. Like the highs were so high.
So high.
Unreal. But what I've started to discover is that is not what we deserve. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We deserve something that is like, that's consistent and calm and doesn't make you feel huge spikes in cortisol and then huge drops because it's addictive and it's not good. Things that are addictive and that you're addicted to make you make choices for yourself that you wouldn't normally make. Like, that. I know
that with dice, but not.
It's the same.
And I know that could happen with a woman, but like I didn't think I was making unhealthy. Like I wrote a cover letter because I was like, maybe I should just take a look and not like change my career path, but like, I applied to like, there was a position at Vulture open. I was like, that's a position I actually make super sense for. Let me do this. And like, she's helping with the resume and the cover letter. And I wrote a fucking great cover letter. If the editor over there didn't already dislike me on the internet, man, I should have gotten that job. I don't think Meg Wright likes me. I just have a feeling.
But
we're
like, artists. So, everything's subjective. It's true.
So it's not like, oh, like I'm going to do things that are unhealthy when someone changes who they are. But it was just like, it was almost like this is someone who makes me want to be the best version of me.
I completely understand that. I do, because I felt the same way.
But
however,
sensitive.
It's, you don't know. You can take the good things with the bad. Nothing is black and white. Germany helped me in a lot of ways. I learned a lot of new instruments. I got way better at different languages. There are things that I love about myself now because of him that were good choices for me. And frankly, it got me out of a relationship that I don't know if I ever would have gotten out of if I hadn't had.
Did you get out of the thing with Brooklyn kind of to get into Germany? Was it kind of like a
I don't want to admit that to myself. I want to believe I did it just for myself. But if I'm being totally truthful, if he hadn't been there, I wouldn't have gotten out of it. And I needed to get out of it. I needed to. But yes, I did things that I wasn't proud of. But not everything I did was a thing I wasn't proud of. There are a lot of things that were opened up in me that I'm really proud of. These people that we love are not all good and all bad, but those super highs and super lows are an indicator that it is not right.
A family member told me, I think it was earlier this year, because I got closer with my sisters and they've been real helpful. Fuck. Okay. Sorry.
Do you need a tissue?
No. You know how like some like chicks in Bushwick free bleed? Like I free cry. I like, nah, let it go.
That's great.
No,
Go ahead.
No.
Sorry, just registered. Yes.
I shouldn't say she because like we all know that the free bleeders are theys. No. Okay. And he's canceled.
You gotta. You're really trying to get yourself canceled.
They didn't have to say any of that. Okay. One of my sisters was saying, that our mom told her that like a dimmer flame burns longer, something like that. I checked my text to figure out the wording, but like, and I hate that idea as an addict in like truly real life. Luckily not an alcoholic. Luckily I'm not addicted to drugs. So I got my whatevers. It's not that like, okay, cool, fine. Like maybe it's more sustainable, but there's still that knowledge. And to me, that sounds like a less awesome life to like know that that's out there. It feels almost like, do you ever see Pippin? I feel like I've complained. Do you remember me complaining
about you every time I think about Pippin, which is not never. I'm not gonna say it's all the time, but it's not 0 times.
It's a non-zero number.
Yes, I have seen Pippin. I remember you said, "Oh my God," I remember.
Do you remember what my take is? What my frustration is?
You said something about you don't want to live a normal life. Or like, how can you live a normal life when you know that there's all of this like other potential? Am I on the right track?
Kind of like now I've read something where maybe the ending has been changed or not changed, but the ending of Pippin that I saw, the circus version that they did on Broadway, it was fantastic except for the ending. I almost walked the fuck out. Oh, yeah. I think I'd seen it around that time, like maybe not long before. The guy, he's the son of Charlemagne. He's going on all his adventure or whatever. And there's this normal lady and her fucking kid. And they're, he kind of falls for her. But the end of the thing, he's trying to find his greatness and find the extraordinary. And then it feels like he settles and the message is like, oh, just find the extra in the ordinary. And I'm like, fuck that. And I don't know. I just remember being really let down by the end of Pippin, and I've always had very strong feelings about it, and enough so that 7 years later, you're going, I think about you.
I do. I think about it. I do. I actually, wow, this is so interesting that you're bringing this up because I remember agreeing with you at the time, and now I feel like
want the dimmer flame.
Well, so there are two kinds of fire, right? Like there's the kind of fire that that burns down a whole building, and it's bright and it's hectic and it's exciting, but it's you know, it demolishes things. And then there's like a candle, and people are really drawn to it. And it's not dangerous, but it's fascinating, you know? And I think that it might be, I don't want to say healthier, but if you can start to think of this sort of like magnetic flame as being something that's calm and consistent, it can be just as beautiful. I don't want to date a firework. I don't want to be a firework because then it bursts and it's over. And that's not what you want in your life, if I may. I mean, like, you and I are both lucky. We both do what it is that I think we've wanted to do to an extent. But it's really draining, you know? Like, I'm in this show right now. And the beginning is the male lead. This is a very esoteric art form that I do. So please know it was written many years ago by a German. Everything that we do in my industry is very
Are you about to just
poetic.
reference Nazi stuff and go, it was a long time ago?
Actually, the person who wrote this is deeply problematic in that way. But anyway. So the beginning, the first act, it is unbelievably beautiful, almost grotesquely so. Like something that is just so beautiful, it's almost too beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Have you ever read the book Perfume? It's also a movie.
It could have been in that language or English. The title was Perfume. I don't think I read it.
You might have seen the movie.
What was it called?
Perfume, but
Definitely.
It's in French. It's possible. At the end of it, I
don't like to read when I watch movies.
It's like a no. I think that they don't. I don't think they did it in French, but it's I can't remember who wrote it, but it's essentially a horror movie where they create a perfume that's so beautiful and so attractive that everybody kills each other at the end. Like that's how beautiful this is sometimes, almost overwhelmingly so. Yeah. And in the first scene, the male lead is with Venus, the goddess of love, and they are in her like realm in the river or wherever it's set, and he knows only pure joy and like erotic beauty, and it's heaven. And he keeps coming to and saying, no, I need to go and experience real life. I need to go and experience like pain. And she's like, but come and just be happy with me. Like, look, I'm a literal goddess. And he's like, and this makes me hate men. Like, why the fuck do you need to leave a literal goddess? But anyway, now I'm going to start arguing both sides. But he's like, no, I need to go and feel something that's real. And I need to go and experience music. And I need to go and experience pain and all the other things. There are so many beautiful things to the human experience that are small and don't need to be so explosive. And I think that because we're artists, we go for things that are romantic and dramatic, obviously. But what I'm trying to train myself to do is appreciate the magnetic flame that burns for longer and can be just as beautiful without being so destructive.
Where my confusion is, and not that like you or I have the answer, so when I ask this, I don't ask this like you have the answer, but whatever. But like, how do you tell the difference between what is a responsible level of flame and I don't think this is really much of a connection. Oh, they're nice. They're pretty good. Oh, yeah, she's kind of fun and all, but like I'm not really feeling the spark. So how do I tell the difference between what's not a spark and what's a spark, but like a responsible level of spark? I went on this day on Saturday, and am I being obstinate that like I'm not super into it, or I'm like I'm seeing her positive qualities. I'm like I could spend another few hours with her on another date. Like. We made out because I got kind of cornered in her bedroom. I really have not felt this clueless in a long time. Where like she's giving me a tour of her apartment. She's like, I only have 5 minutes. And I didn't even know I was going up to her apartment. I thought I was just walking her home. It was an afternoon date. And so like she shows me like her outdoor space, but it's you have to go through the bedroom to go to the outdoor space. And then when we come back in, I think we're going to exit the bedroom, she walks to the door and closes it. And I go like, is this what it's like to be a woman where I've had my exit blocked?
Wait, did you feel unsafe?
No, I felt safe. But I was just like, oh yeah, no, this is very noticeable. Like I now cannot, because she closes it and turns and puts her hands like right on this coat and starts to unbutton it. I go like, oh, because I didn't know. I wasn't feeling super spark, and I wasn't even getting it from her that she was super interested. But I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna make out. And like we made out. It's okay, my body kind of reacted. I was like, okay, maybe I do this again. But I'm not feeling the sparks that I'm used to feeling when I know this is someone I want to like be romantic with. Oh man. So my problem with this whole like a dimmer flame burns, lasts longer or whatever, to have like a candle versus the firework is recognizing a spark that is a spark, but is like the right level of spark, and not dulling my expectations so much that I go like, well, I'm not feeling the spark, but I'm not supposed to feel a spark. The sparks are scary. So maybe I'm supposed to stay with settle for this lady and her stupid kid for 10 years.
The way you just locked eyes with me and said that was for some reason the funniest thing. I don't know.
That would be my concern with this philosophy is how to tell that difference then.
I think, yes, I feel you. And I have been asking myself this question in the mirror every fucking day. Like, literally, I'm to the point where what is love? Like, what makes love different from friendship? What is it that, like, what is that spark? I don't know.
I think it's like I want to die next to this person 60 years from now. But, or maybe more realistically 45 with what I eat, but yeah.
Oh God. But like, did I feel that with my ex? Did he feel that with me? That's where I go crazy. That's where I go insane. Because I'm like, did he ever feel that for me?
But it doesn't matter what he felt. It's what did you feel for him? Because that's the only thing you could figure out and know. I would have
fucking died for him. I would have done anything. But like, I loved him so much. But it wasn't good. Like, it wasn't right. And why? Why was I ready to like absolutely, give up everything that I am just to make sure that he's happy? Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. Like, we have to reprogram ourselves or we are not going to fucking make it.
As I was about to say, I was like, yeah, but like, would she? But like, she kind of did, but then also didn't. Because I wanted to say, like, I don't think that's the most unhealthy attitude if they're also feeling that way about you. And it sounds like he wasn't ready to, he wouldn't have done that level of sacrifice for you. And
but
I was thinking,
why not? Like,
because he's an idiot.
He must be.
He had you. He had a goddess.
Thank you. Ugh, that keeps me up at night. Because like, if I'm proud of myself and I feel like I've done everything and I've done everything to be in my other relationships. I saw where I went wrong. I saw it. I knew what I did wrong. In this one, I didn't do anything wrong. Like I was the perfect girlfriend.
And then it must be
that's where I went wrong.
And then it must be, well, if I didn't do anything wrong, then maybe I am wrong. But like, you are not wrong. He's an idiot.
He must be. It must be. It must be.
I had to like just stop myself from like saying mildly extreme things like I posted on Facebook 7 years ago. But like I will like bring it down, but like I would like, and again, I hope you don't take this any sort of like wrong way. I would have punched him in the face if it meant like I could get like a chance to like go out with you and you're done with that.
I appreciate that.
I would have like, idiot.
Thank you. That shouldn't make me feel better. I should be able to find it in myself, but it does. Yeah. But it does. I'm human.
From a guy, to hear it from a man you don't want to date, but like just to say like, if he doesn't but I don't think it's important to, I think it's a folly to think like, well, did they feel the same way? I don't know, like, fuck that guy. Like, you don't have to think about like, how did he feel about you? Clearly not enough. Yeah. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Hard not to take it personally, but.
Yeah. But it's just weird that I was about to say like, oh, but Walanole would have like done it, but then clearly not because she didn't. We're not together.
Right.
3 times over, 4 times over. Yeah. Depending how we count it.
Mine tried to break up with me a few times too. And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. Like, we have a good thing here. But to go back to your question of
winning,
like.
And you keep winning back.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually was really like trying to grab onto the little things. Like, do you like waking up with me in the morning? Yes. Do you like going to sleep with me at night? Yes. Do you like these like little like flowers that we grew on your balcony? Like, don't you like that? And he was like, yeah. So it was like me trying to point out all of the little good things that we had. And I don't understand why it wasn't enough, you know? And maybe that's why, because maybe he's looking for something that doesn't exist, some sort of explosive thing that's less consistent. And maybe we're all kind of looking for that, you know? Maybe he was that explosive, less consistent thing for me. And his ex before me, who I don't think he ever really got over, and he was engaged to, was that explosive, inconsistent thing for him. And maybe that's what we're drawn to. I don't know. But it's that.
It's hard not to go, to those big flames. But again, it's, I think there's so many people who find things that are comfortable and safe, maybe like the end of Pippin. And that always seemed like, I remember growing up and that would be like shown like in TV and film and in books, like people who were settling for something. It was almost like a B plot or like side characters who like the main characters on the adventure and the side characters were always the ones who were like, yeah, she hates her husband this whole fucking movie. Why didn't she leave him? Like, but because it's consistent, he pays the bills. And that always seemed like a life I didn't want to live. Yeah. But it also feels like a false choice.
But maybe we can look at consistency differently. This is not me like having some philosophy that I've had. I'm externally processing as it comes out of my face. Maybe it's less the consistency of something stable, like, oh, a stable job as an accountant. But hear me out. What would it be like because if we're talking about things that are explosive and you have to change yourself for, I would argue that is worse than, imagine this. Picture this reality. You wake up in the morning to a text from the person that you are in a relationship with saying, I hope you have a great day today. And you get that every morning and you don't have to worry about if you're going to wake up to that text. It's the inconsistency where you don't always get that text or something has happened that's broken the trust that keeps you addicted to looking for that text. But imagine what it would be like if somebody just said, how was your day? And then like supported you in all the things that you were doing and never made you feel bad. I mean, I get that you want like the fireworks, and obviously I do too, because I am in a profession where that is taken to the extreme and I see it all the time. But I don't think that is what we actually want. I think that the feeling of anxiety is so horrible that to get that hit was the only way I knew how to get out of that anxiety. But I think I would prefer, if I were at my healthiest, just something that's consistent, where I felt valued, where I felt safe. I don't think I've ever really felt safe in any relationship except for maybe my one in college, because we didn't know any better, you know? Like,
so what's next for you? I mean, I know you said we were talking before we turned the mics on, like neither of us are really like swiping and doing stuff that's too active, but I know this is still, I think you said it's been like 3 months, so it's really fresh. And
it's fresh.
What do you see yourself doing moving forward in the dating world? Are you going to date? Are you going to be like, I'm just, maybe I'll fuck around, but like I'm not doing anything serious? Like what's Elle doing?
I haven't really figured that out yet. I think I need to be alone, like really alone for the first time in my life, because I need to be good enough in myself to like not wait for a text from somebody and have it mean the, be all end all of my day.
Sure.
Which I've never gotten to. So that's what I need.
What about sex?
I don't know. What do people do?
Sometimes they take their clothes off.
So hear me out. I'm going to say something that's, I think, controversial. But I've heard you talk about this before. I'm going to say it. Fuck it.
Say it.
I think, do you believe in demisexuality? Roll your eyes. Just do it and get over it.
as an identity marker that needs a flag, or as like a way some people operate?
Let's go with the way some people operate. Maybe it doesn't need a flag.
Yeah, that was always the thing. It wasn't like, hey, that's not how people are. I just was like, you don't need a word because they're used to, like, before casual sex was like considered socially acceptable. That's how like everyone was kind of supposed to be. And being slutty or just like having sex without like emotional attachment was abnormal culturally. And so like, I don't think just now that like the sluts are like on an uptick means like, well, we want a flag too. It's just be. I don't think a word was needed. But yes, I do agree that there are people like that. And I think I have my best sex when I am emotionally connected, when I do feel that, whether it's in a relationship or out of a relationship. The more emotional connected I feel, the more intimacy there is, I think the better the sex has been for me. And that's part of why I've been like low key, like pseudo celibate for so much this year, just because I'm like, inconveniently, my cock is craving intimacy. And like
it is inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient. Yes, I agree. And like that people can operate that way. I do a little bit too. I just don't use that word.
I think I am that in the extreme. I really do. Like, maybe it's because I'm loyal. I don't know.
I don't think you have to figure out a reason. I don't think it's like a defect. I think it's a totally like, again, it's my optimal version of sexuality is emotionally connected.
Yeah. It does make it difficult though, because if you have a problem, or maybe not a problem, but a difficulty like I do, where I will fall really hard and give up myself and ignore my boundaries, then it's hard to see red flags. And if I can't divorce physical intimacy from deep emotional intimacy, then that's actually really hard, you know? So as of right now, I cannot casually sleep with people because I need to feel like I love and care about someone, and I need to feel like they love and care about me. Yeah. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why I need it so badly. It really makes it difficult. It really does. Because I'm not in one place for very long ever. I'm still that way. I'm still very nomadic. Like, I'm leaving the city at the end of the month. I don't know when I'm going to be back. And my problem is I can only equate that kind of intimacy with the last person that I was in love with. And so I can only equate it to my most recent ex. And I don't know when I'm going to get over that. You know, like, it's heartbreaking. I cannot divorce that. I can't separate it.
And it's hard for, like we talked about with like heroin and love, it's like, best sex of my life was with that woman. And not necessarily because we did some sort of special thing. There's an element of, am I ever going to have sex that's even remotely close to as good as that? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. I'm not like, it's never going to happen. It's just, it's tough to know that there's a love out there that I might not feel that burst again. And also like a sex that like might, it's daunting to think of decades of a life with less than something I've had.
I know. Same.
And I can see in your eyes that it's tough to accept that too.
For sure.
But, you know.
And what's worse, I don't know, what compounds is that maybe he never felt that way about me. Maybe he was feeling that way about somebody else from his past because it was explosive and they knew each other. And that hurts too, you know? But there's something about the unreciprocated part of it, I think, for both of us, that I think should not be left unconsidered, because I think that that's a lot of what creates the magnetism. Like, I have to believe in order to continue that I will feel that way again. Yeah. But I also never want to feel that way again because I was so fucking mistreated.
That's where we come to the spectrum again. It's like, are you going to be in love again? Yes, but like how much, right? And I don't think either of us think we'll never be in love again, but it's, are we going to be in that explosive love? And then will it be satisfying to know that we have that consistent and more responsible amount of love? I mean, will that be satisfying? Will we find it and not constantly be like, yeah, they're great and all, but not like Germany, not like Wild Note Lady?
But it has to be. It fucking has to be. Because if this person didn't love me as much as you say I deserve, as much as I say I deserve, then that cannot be the one that outdoes all the other ones. If this woman can frankly breadcrumb you like that and then leave you and choose to leave you and not love you the way you know that you deserve and I know that you deserve, then that just can't be it. That just cannot be. It just can't.
I mean, I know the love is still there. It's I think she unfortunately made what we call we call in football a business decision.
Okay.
Kicker's not going to make that tackle.
Yeah, but the right person, if the right person will figure it out with you.
We shall see.
No, I really believe that. Because I think mine also maybe made a little bit of a business decision. You know, I didn't want to end up in the same city he wanted to end up in, which seems to be a theme in my life. But I just have to believe that the person who sees the correct value in us will choose us. So,
and in any attempt to like land a plane, I think I guess if there's a sense of comfort and we find it in the arts. I don't know if it sounds like maybe also found a lot of archetypes and storylines to draw from, to bring to real life from things we watched. But I guess I have to think then of 500 Days of Summer.
Oh God.
Because if you remember the ending,
I do.
Then it's day one of fall. Was that whatever her name was? Amber, whatever.
Was
Autumn.
That her name?
I think they gave her the name Autumn.
Oh,
I think that's what I think that was the motif.
The I got it.
Right.
Yes.
500 Days of Summer, and then it's day one of autumn.
Right.
And you don't plan on it; just kind of walks by. But that's why I'm not on apps, but I'm also not closed off if I walk into an elevator and it's like, hey.
Yeah, that's true. You just can't put your whole worth in it.
Yeah. How you feel?
Good. How do you feel? Do you need more water?
Emotional.
I know. Maybe we should turn the lights on. Unless you're ready to wrap up, you tell me. I know.
Up to you. How you feel?
It's not my show.
Yeah. Well, I like to respect people's time or whatever. I'm good. Well, Elle, thanks for doing this.
Thanks,
and yeah, I don't know.
Sick to see you again.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Are you doing do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah. Next week.
Where?
Is Pete's Candy Shop, and then the 18th I'm at the Grisly Pear in Midtown, and then I don't think anything else this month for now.
Sick.
But
Maybe
yeah,
I'll roll
I don't know.
in.
Pete's Candy Shop is cool. It's right off the L.
I feel
nice
like I've
little
been
spot.
there.
Yeah, they do music there too when
Yes.
sad people aren't on stage.
Great.
Yeah.
They're sad too. The
fun.
music is sad. Everyone's sad.
Come out, I'll buy you a whiskey.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll buy you one too.
Oh, I like how that works out.
Reciprocity.
Elle, why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Goodbye. Have a great week and life and year.
Wait. Hold on. Okay. If you enjoyed that, I'm pretty sure you did. There is a lot more of me and Elle coming up at the end of this little outro thing here. Okay. You can fast forward if you want to, just don't skip to the next podcast yet, because there's more just real shortly, because there's like a 35-minute bonus episode with me and Elle coming out exclusively on Patreon tomorrow. And I'm going to play a real good teaser at the end of this little thing here. So just hold on a second. There's two things that were mentioned during the episode. And I feel like I should just like clarify and share them. One is that thing that my sister said, my mom said. I think what my sister said is actually way better, but the concept of does a dimmer flame last longer, that comes from an Ashley Cleveland song. So apparently my mom passed on to my sister something from a song that like a guy my mom was dating post-divorce shared with her. So the song is very unromantically titled, I Could Learn to Love You, which really just encapsulates the fucking settling attitude that I'm really I'm like, I'm not excited to embrace. So I'm gonna just do the whole verse, but it's the last. It's like the last couple of lines. So she goes, I could learn to love you. I'm old enough. I could learn to love you. I'm brave enough. Not like a mother's love decided from the womb. Not like a burning love that flares the night and fades at noon. So that's that. But I think a dimmer flame lasts longer is way better at conveying what that idea. The second thing was the South Park reference. Okay, this is the more fun one. The South Park reference. It was from the Kenny Dies episode, season 5, episode 13. For any South Park nuts, this is when Kenny actually dies. It's like the Terry Schiavo assisted suicide episode. This is a real throwback, and it's Chef. He's talking to Stan, not Butters. But I still say that I was heavily influenced by this. I'm gonna play the line real quick, just so you can all learn something from Chef.
Then why does God give us anything to start with?
Well, look at it this way. If you want to make a baby cry, first you give it a lollipop, then you take it away. If you never give it a lollipop to begin with, then you would have nothing to cry about. That's like God, who gives us life and love and health just so that he can tear it all away and make us cry, so he can drink the sweet milk of our tears. You see, it's our tears.
But that was very influential to me. I've taken that, I've internalized it since my middle school years, and I've applied it to many things in life, but very much I've included it in my views on love. So you can share your thoughts, your reactions, your questions about this week's show directly via email to me at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Or you can share your thoughts on this week's show in the episode discussion channel in our Discord server, The Champagne Room, which you can join for free at manwhorepod.com/Discord or click the link in the notes. Now, as I mentioned, there is a bonus episode coming out with me and Elle tomorrow. Is available to all of my $5 and up fan whores on Patreon. We really could not stop talking. It was delightful. Heads up though, you can only join right now at directly the URL patreon.com/manwhorepodcast, because I have yet again, wait for it, been flagged as adult content. Yes, my Patreon bonus episode titled Just the Moans, where it's all the moans from episode 500. So you just listen to me go down on women for an hour almost. They found that, and they decided that is considered adult content. And in the meantime, while I fight it, you cannot find me in the app. You can't just search me in the app to join. You first have to join via desktop. So stick it to the censoring man at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Become a member, support the show, enjoy the bonus episodes. Next week, you're going to hear me with another ex hookup. Not really as much of a big burning flame, but she is a friend who has dealt with loss in love in a different way, in a more someone dying kind of way. And we're gonna cover loss in love from that angle next week. For now, enjoy the teaser with Elle, feel responsibly, and stay slutty.
Oh, I wrote a joke
Yes, please tell me.
in my sleep. It's a dad joke.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And here I thought so highly of you. You know what? But please tell it, because this might make me finally get over you.
It's a riddle.
Oh no.
Please know I wasn't totally conscious, and I woke up and I was like, I wrote a joke.
Are you going to be ashamed of this joke?
Yeah.
Like the things you're ashamed of from your past relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
This is horrifying and fucking genius. So, what do you call? No, I can't. Okay,
the amount of emails I'm going to get
of people like trying to ship us, but continue.
What does that mean?
That's like what the kids say when they like watch like shows or like they take characters, they want to ship them, like relationship, like they want.
Oh, thank
put
you.
them. And sometimes when someone's really good from my past, they'll like be comments and be like, I really hope Billy and Meryl get back together.
Aw. But weren't they just listening that we're both incredibly broken and need to rebuild ourselves from the foundational ground up, lest we realize that our hearts are a black hole, a vacuum of joy and despair? Were they listening?
Well, then they're more responsible to say, I hope in like 6 to 7 months they get back together.
6 to 7 months? I'm going to die miserable. In a cute way.
When you say that, I'm going to die miserable. I'm like,
I'm going to die miserable.
That's a very upper one of these sides thing to say.
That's so true.
Please tell me this. First, tell me this terrible joke.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you my joke. Wow. What do you call... I'm just going to go into it and I can't look you in the eyes. What do you call Sinatra swimming in an oversized beer mug to celebrate having graduated medical school?
I don't know.
No, don't say you don't know. You have to try. Sinatra. What was his first name?
Frank.
What do you become when you graduate medical school?
Dr. Frank.
And what is an oversized German beer mug called?
Dr. Frank. If I didn't also have like a dirty Frank Sinatra dad joke that I wrote. I'm not saying we're perfect together, but like I also do have a Frank Sinatra dad joke that I will never tell on stage that like I thought in my head once.
Really? Is it as good as that one though?
I think so.
That one was pretty fucking good.
It's dirty because like look who you're talking to, but
mine are very clean. Like that could go in a children's book.
Absolutely.
Dr. Frankenstein. That's incredible.
I think we all knew what the punchline was as I stopped myself before
not
finishing.
everybody figures it out. I have to really walk them there.
Hello, I'm Billy Presida, host of the manwhorepod. Having put my most intimate stories of love and glory holes on the internet since the age of 24, I understand the importance of entertaining sex-positive conversations. Since 2014, the manwhorepod has shared free weekly content inspiring hundreds of thousands of sluts around the world to communicate better and come harder. With your contribution, One Whore plans to survive capitalism in 2024 while making you laugh and think and ask your partner for an open relationship. I hope I can count on you to support this vital, important, life-changing work on Patreon. We don't have tote bags, but we do have a 53-minute bonus episode of people having oral sex. Become an official fan whore today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Thank you.